Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of international rugby. This one, Argentina hosting England in what will be a very intriguing type of matchup. This English side missing their British and Irish Lions. This Argentinian side coming off a victory over the Lions, so they will certainly be hyped up and rearing to go for this fixture. But looking through at their starting side, it is looking strong for Los Pumas, as I'm sure it will throughout the Rugby Championship as well. But it is Mako Vivas in the front row alongside Julio Montoya, and also it will be Delgado as the number 3, Paulos and Rubiolo in the locking duo. So still maybe missing a couple of their main locks just at this point in time. Pablo Matera, he will slot in as the number 6 with Juan Matan Gonzalez at 7 and Fukanduiza there as the number 8. They are just showing the humidity and the temperature at the moment, 12 degrees Celsius for this game in Argentina. So hopefully that is the way it will stay throughout this contest, and no sign of rain, so it should be a nice afternoon for a bit of rugby. Bertrano will be the starting 9 with Santiago Carreras starting at 10, Picaro in the midfield alongside Lucio Cinti, and then Santiago Cordero as the number 11, Rodrigo Istro as the number 14, and Elizalde slotting in at 15 for this matchup. In this English starting lineup, even without those lines, it is still looking extremely strong. Finn Baxter, Jamie George, and also Joe Hayes as the number 3. Charlie Yule's partners with Alex Coles in the locking duo with Ben Curry, Sam Underhill, and Tom Willis, who is a man that I feel is right on the verge of getting that flight over to Australia to join up with the Lions. If there is some sort of injury, Ben Spencer and George Ford will be the 19 combination. Seb Atkinson in the midfield alongside Henry Slade, and then Muir out on one wing, Roebuck out on the other, and Freddie Stewart at number 15. Shall we address the elephant in the room? And that is the mustache. Where has your beard gone? I made a terrible forfeit decision on that last match between Italy and South Africa, and that was if South Africa didn't beat Italy by my score prediction, which was South Africa by 40, then I would shave off the beard. If the Italians actually won that game, the mustache was going to be going too, but in this case, the stash will be staying for just a little bit of time. Did you shave for real? I feel Springboks did well. They did do all right in that contest, and Italy certainly did well in that game as well. Elizalde, the opportunity debutant in that number 15 jersey. He has had a bit of experience from that 7 side as well. We have got Twirl It Up. I don't know whether or not we're at that twirling stage as of yet. I feel like that takes a little bit of experience, doesn't it? Plus, I think it's a little bit too long here to be able to properly twirl, but maybe if we're bored at halftime. We'll see how it goes. Good to be here this morning, Hamish. Looking great, mate. CSI, we actually show the game. Sadly, due to licensing, any match footage get you taken straight off YouTube. So we will be doing the play-by-play commentary, letting you know who's got the ball, where they are on the field, everything along those lines. But yeah, any match footage straight off YouTube. Unfortunately, better than I had hoped. Magnificent. See Sarah there. Is it a porn stash? Little bit. I think that's not so much the idea I was going for, but it's more so I just got rid of everything else. I don't know whether or not it's a look that will stay for very long, but for now it's there, and we've just got to accept it. Who's playing next week, says Mohaden. A lot of games next week. We will see South African action up against Italy once more. We will see New Zealand play France. Argentina, they will play England in their second match. Hamish, the stash is looking fantastic, says Bill. And Argies to win by 15 points, says Sir MC. And those are some handlebars, says Sakabola. Yeah, I probably made it a little bit longer than it needed to be, but now 2 sides making their way out of the tunnel for the national anthems. Of course, for the English, that does not take very long. God Save the King is only maybe 50 words long, if that. And then for the Argentines, of course, that passion in front of the home crowd. This is a location where they were able to verse the likes of Australia and get a win over the Aussies at this exact ground. And Lilia says Sakabola there. And look at good, Hamish, but what about the eyebrows? Well, the eyebrows do get to stay on. Although I had the idea of taking the eyebrows off so that it distracted you from the mustache, but then that seemed like an absolutely terrible idea. And watching from France, what time is kickoff, please? For 5 minutes time until this one does get underway. I'm about to head off to USA versus Belgium around halftime of this game, says Bill. And there as well, of course, that game is taking place in only about maybe 3-4 hours time, isn't it? Hamish, don't drink milk. You think it will get caught in this? I don't like calling it a stash. It didn't want to come out of my mouth. That sounds weird. But Yeah, mustache will have to go for it. Can't help but admire you, a man of his word, says Lilia B. And also we have got there about that USA-Belgium. That is the one of 2 games remaining, isn't it, in international rugby? Also, actually, Argentina XV might be playing Chile maybe a little bit later on today, unless they've already played them. I know that Ireland were taking on Georgia. Hi, Hamish, is there a full house? Sadly not, but it still looks like a pretty decent crowd, and this is a large stadium. What is your prediction? We're not doing too many predictions. Just by 40 or shave your head. No, couldn't do that. But honestly, like, Argentina come in as favourites, and England are a tough side, whether they're at home or away. So I can see this one being extremely competitive. And the thing is, with France losing that match to New Zealand, that number 4 spot in the rankings is honestly on the line. Couple more losses for France, if that is the way that it ends up going. That is great for one of these 2 teams, whoever can get the big wins. In fact, England would benefit much more winning 2 games away from home up against Argentina. Learnt your lesson, says Lilia B. I certainly did. And I don't have a lot of hair left. So, yeah. Brazil versus Argentina XV. So it's Brazil. Who's Chile playing? Have Chile played anyone throughout this weekend? In fact, they might have played yesterday. I think they had a game. And also, ref against the box was horrible, says Fareed. And there as well. Which one didn't you like, Fareed, in the decision making? I actually thought it was overall not too bad. We're all here for the commentary, but half the people here really just wanted to check out the stash, says Caitlin. Yeah, and it's certainly, it's happened. We have to now, I guess, yeah. I don't know how long to keep it. I said a week, but I feel like a week theoretically is right up until that South Africa game. So it might just be up until maybe Friday, weekdays, and then the weekend it will be possibly making a transition away, going into hibernation. But it will be the English national anthem, God Save the King, being sung by this English outfit who are looking for a massive win here in Argentina. Holly did a great job. People are just childish, says Sir MC, and deal with the consequences, says Lilia B. And there was Alvin's Tachuka try, was a try but disallowed. That was due to the obstruction of Oxnashare, wasn't it? Even after the game, like, the players themselves said that it was obstruction, though. So, it is what it is. That obstruction rule is one that gets certain sides caught out. We saw it in play a little bit earlier on in the New Zealand game as well, a pretty similar type of one. I preferred the beard. The tash makes you look like a state trooper of uncertain sexual orientation. Well, it is a image and a half. I think Holly Davison gets too overpowered by a TMO. Says Bill, when Argentina beat England tonight, Argentina will write their name on the Rayburn Shield, the first time since 1986, says WJ. And Nick White took over, says Jimbo. Well, he's got the twirl, doesn't he? Nick White. I haven't quite got to that stage as of yet, but the national anthem of the Argentines. There seems so much rugby on lately, never know anything like it. Says Neil, yeah, every time that you have like an hour break after a game, there's another game that's either already started or just about to. Like during that break in between South Africa, Italy, and this game between England and Argentina, we already had another match. That was Ireland taking on the Georgians. I'm not sure who won that one. We'll have a quick look now while we're at it, while we are looking at the benches as well, ladies and gents. These are who will be making their way off the reserves for both of these sides. Matthias Maroni. Okay, that one went about as expected. 34. Wait, do you guys want to know? I don't want to give away a spoiler. So if you don't want to know, be sure to mute or just like put your fingers in your ears and go la 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 for like 5 seconds. I'm going to cover my mouth too. Ireland won that game 34 points to 5. So that was the score in that contest. Hopefully I gave you guys enough time. The 12 is 100% too powerful, says Sarah there. And also shave it 99 to 1%. Says Kevin, looking fresh, bro, says Andrew. And how soon till kickoff? So they are just finishing the Argentine national anthem. Then we'll be straight into the kickoff of this match. The ABs could say the same thing with 3 disallowed tries. South Africa just got to adapt to the refs just like the ABs have to, says Colin. And yeah, the refereeing and TMOing has been a lot more strict throughout July so far. And I think that is down to the new laws in terms of how they are officiating a game. Hamish, good idea, under your nose, says Fareed. And weather was terrible in Georgia, pitch soaked, says Jimbo. And also New Zealand lamb chops and mashed potatoes, was it, bro? Says Andrew Nell. And they're there too. I had a mini chalk bar. If anyone knows what that is, that was what I had in between streams, and somehow all my facial hair, except for the stash, fell off. That also, I should clarify, was not true, because or else then I could get sued by chalk bars, which I wouldn't want to because they're quite good. Scotland fan here, Pumas win all day long, says Johnny. And yes, love them, says Andrew Neal. And Julio Montoya, looking extremely focused. Argentina's national anthem is quite long, but I guess it's making up for the shortness of the English one. With great mustache comes great power, says Sarah. Yeah, I don't know whether or not I go out and about with it, though. You look different, Hamish, says Craig. I dyed my hair. No, I didn't. But, yeah. Argentine national anthem. First half is down. Now we are into the upbeat tempo of the second half of it. Go Argentina, make it happen, says it was there from Argentina. Oh, sorry, from Andrew. And Yo says Victorian rulers. Welcome in. Hope you are doing extremely well. And do let me know your score predictions, ladies and gents. In terms of this matchup, Argentina do come in as slight favourites, but England, they've got a good side out there on the field. Tom Willis has been tearing it up in the top 14. You got George Ford at 10 with a bit of stability there. Midfield of Atkinson alongside Slade and Sarah, I should say, with the two silent H's. The Colonel Twirl was for higher ranks only. And sadly, I'm not quite at that high ranking as of yet. Well, then I guess what would it be in high rank count as? We might twirl it at some point. Top notch humour, says Caitlin there. And come on, lads, England forever, says Victorian Rolls and Wrong Willis. Oh, it is, isn't it? I was thinking about Jack Willis. This is old Tom, isn't it? Sorry, they get confusing because you got the two Currys and the two Willises, don't you? I forgive you for the Sarah slip-up, says Sarah there. I think Holly did a great job revving the bot game. Power to female refs. And also we have got there, does New Zealand have Tim Tams or is it just an Aussie thing? We have Tim Tams. We also have Chit Chats, which Chit Chats I actually think are slightly better than Tim Tams when it comes to the original one. Permit, says Kiwi. I don't know if there's enough of it to perm. You look great, Hamish. Ain't too interested in your shaved off beard, though, says Neil. Yeah, it's a bit too short, isn't it? It feels a bit weird. Like every bit of breeze I'm going to feel now on my face. Hamish, you look like a certain Wallaby 9. And the Colonel Twirl. That's hilarious. Love it. As the game started, might take England. Just about. Two sides in the huddle at the moment. We are just eagerly awaiting that first kick of the day. So they are about 3 or 4 minutes behind what was the original scheduled start time. It's not a mile away. Argentina looking into the sun for this first half, 25-20 to England, says Gareth. And I do think overall everyone's going relatively close game here, aren't they? I haven't seen too many runaway score lines. Hamish looks like Corey Jane, says Johnny. Angus Gardner, he will be the referee in charge of this contest. And we're now ready to go. Santiago Carreras gets plenty of distance on that one to about 5 metres out. This camera's miles in the air. We are looking almost straight down at them like they are ants. And now rolling this one back for the English. They are actually, I don't understand this too much. Like, I get it that the English white kit would overlap with the blue and white, but this kit actually kind of is quite similar to the English away kit. It has got white as well as a little bit of light blue and then the dark blue. What time is the game? The game has started now between the two sides. Can you give us a haka real quick? It's currently 7:45 a.m. So probably not. I prefer the beard. Looks like you got chocolate on your top lip while eating, says David. And Springboks was lucky, says Thesaurus. That's the thing. Like, we saw some pretty good work from Italy, and it was a lot closer than some were expecting, which I think is a great thing about it. And hopefully the second one is a bit similar. All skip past there from Argentina going off to the right-hand side, currently sitting 35 metres out from the English line. A little bit of a scrap already starting to open up there between Santiago Carreras and also, I believe it was Ben Curry. Now kicking it in behind, finds a bit of space. A little bit of a handling error there from Argentina, or in fact, sorry, England. See, they're wearing the Pumas away kit, so this actually is quite confusing at the moment. We'll take a little bit of adjustment seeing England in a colour that isn't red. The Argentine national anthem, take up the whole first half. It's a 3-act opera, says Robert. And ABs were pretty disciplined in terms of giving penalties away. We're surprised we only gave 3 away. Yeah, that's actually really good numbers for the All Blacks. And now Will Jordan looks like you, says Andrew Neal. I did get a picture with Will Jordan a while ago, but he definitely, I don't see it, the comparison. How long are you going to grow your mustache suits, you, says Xander? Well, it was going to be like a weekday throughout this week, and then it was going to be gone by the weekend. But yeah, we'll see. I don't think it will stick around for a mile of time. But now, going off to the right-hand side, Santiago Herreras. Tackle around the halfway line. Little bit of a counter ruck coming from England, but the penalty advantage will go the way of Los Pumas. We have got the okay. Just say I'm real quick, says Victorian Rulers. And I actually thought Italy looked notably good against Namibia, so I wonder if I should have been so surprised, and they are far better than Wales, says Cool Story. I think that even with the players missing from Italy, these young guys, same with what we saw from France, these players who know that this is their chance to break onto the international scene, they are stepping up. How much you got tonight? I think it's going to be within 7, to be honest. England play in white normally. Oh, sorry, yeah, white rather than the red. Sorry, it's the red roses was the confusion there. And we have got there, with that stash, Hamish is going to appear on Fake Taxi episode. And also, can you imagine both Willis's brothers in this team? Would absolutely carve up, says Johnny. And now, going forward, although England had that away maroon kit, didn't they, at one point, that they did bring out. I think that was only a World Cup thing, though, wasn't it? Now, going to roll this one back for Ford. Goes to Jamie George. Referee says, whoa, he was worried he was going to get cleaned up. I get Freddie Mercury vibes, says Lilia B. Your tash looks like tumbleweed gone mad, says Bobby Blazer. Now Ben Spencer. Looks like they're putting a lot of pressure on the breakdowns to try and stop that nice simple box kick opportunity. George Ford at 10, he certainly is, yes. Although he's playing a bit of 9 at the moment because Spencer putting pressure on him. So every once in a while, Ford has to get to those breakdowns. Going up for Argentina, taking it cleanly on the halfway line for Elizalde. The youngster from the sevens. Now, nice little step there coming from Argentina, but shut down with a good tackle on Cordero. Looking back into the pocket. Instead, for Canduiza will run it forward. Hamish looks like a 70s porn star. Says Lamatasi. I got the RGs to win by 10, says Darren. Now kicked high. Now on towards the sideline. Well claimed, I should say. I don't think he was complaining about it. And a nice kick downfield from England, although it has been ruled as taking it outside of the 22. So a large territory gain here for the Argentinians. You look like Geraldine Toolsy with that mo. I'm not sure who that is. And Argentina in the box use homegrown players, says Sarid. Outside of course, well, at the moment they have got the one with Vincent Tachuka from the Democratic Republic of Congo, but he has, like all the other sides around the world, he is qualified to be able to play for South Africa. Now a little bit of a handling error from Fukando. He's a bit regathers before he takes contact, going off to the left-hand side. And Spencer, a great sniper. He'll keep Argentina honest, says Jimbo. And yeah, I think Argentina know the threat. So that's why they're being very cautious around that breakdown and trying to just put him a little bit off his game, putting the pressure on. Now Cordero with the straightening run, 25 metres out from the line, tackled by Tom Willis. Back off to the left. Another step coming there from Santiago Herreras. No, he looks like Terry Wright, and I've got Argentina by 6. Says Craig, turnover is good for England. Ford goes back across now to the middle of the park. On the bottom side of the field now. Good tackle, one-on-one. So far, both sides defending well. Yes, homegrown. But is it a professional game? Or it is a professional game. Who has the money going forward? And I would have taken Ben Spencer on the Lions tour, linking up with Finn. Quality halfback combo. Says Johnny, and hi, what is your biggest fear? That's a deep question. Landing on my head like that, because that was ugly for the English. And the worst thing is, he's only going to have it as a knock-on against him. He's got back up. But surely that hurts the back of the neck. I think it was Seb Atkinson. You might have to check on him, though. That was a really awkward landing for the big man. And he kind of did a full somersault. We're going to see the replay here in a second. Hamish, have you watched the 1999 World Cup France-New Zealand semi-final? It remains the most amazing neutral game of my life. I haven't. I don't believe, and I look, Hamish says Mark. Yeah, Atkinson. Oh, his head's got to hurt. Like the slow motion replay, he kind of snaps his head on the grass, and then now you're like, he's still bent over in the midfield, but I think that might need an HIA, because that didn't look nice. 7 minutes into this contest already, still sitting 0-0 between these two sides. That's going to be a free kick now going the way of Argentina for a little bit of a pre-engagement coming from the English, although just grub it into touch by Argentina. Nothing too crazy there. Now Elizalde just finding his feet in the international level. You make it sound ouch, says Kiwi. Yeah, it was a pretty brutal one. Seven moment, not quite. A little bit different because he was in the air. Like he jumped up for the ball and then landed. Give the mustache a chance. It'll grow on you. Is that a pun? Or it's got to be a pun, doesn't it? And I do like it. You've done well. Where's your bloody tie, Hamish? Where's my beard should be the first question. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that. What kind of name is that? That's extremely long. Maybe a reference to something. I watched that 99 final live. Was heartbreak, Hamish. You wouldn't like it, brother. Says Colin. Okay, it sounds like Angus Gardner just giving a little bit of a last-minute warning here to the English in terms of those scrums. Let it go, I mean grow. Says Kiwi. It's also broadcast free on YouTube via Flow Rugby. Is it? I assume that that's maybe geographically restricted, but that is fantastic news that they've got this as a free-to-air option. Angus Gardner making sure he's got a firm control of this game from the get-go. All going to be fed in now by Argentina. 9 minutes in. No one to score as of yet. Actually, quite a few slow starts throughout this weekend of rugby. Now finds it in behind to Rodrigo Isgro. Another man that did come from that sevens background for Argentina. Knock on coming from Los Pumas. Told to leave it. I think England should come out of this with the ball. Yes, they do. And yes, I'm nutty, says Kiwi. A chance around the halfway line. Well taken by Elizalde once more. Santiago Carreras kicks downfield looking for the 50-22, but a steep bounce gives it straight to George Ford. Will return fire with a kick of his own. Does get it into touch. Do Argentina want to go quickly? They do not. Ayup, Hubidiski's looking more aerodynamic. Says Ethan, and Carreras at 10. He is at 10, yes, for the Argentines. So Carreras versus Ford is actually kind of a pretty cool one. When a mustache tickles your lips, that's the ideal length, says Xander. I don't think it's quite at the... it's getting close to the tickling stage. Although you can't tickle yourself, can you? That's something that's... Isn't that like supposed to be a scientific fact? Maybe. Or can you? I haven't tried enough to really know. That's a huge shot coming from Argentina. That would have tickled the ribcage of Henry Slade. The ball now popping out on the side of Argentina. Flow Rugby not available in the UK. Says Gareth there. Yeah, so I think it's only available in the locations that don't have the game on another broadcaster. There's a more. Says Kiwi there. Do we have got there? Oh, these trash South African commentator says, I am nutty. They are both South African, aren't they? Interesting. I guess that's maybe the SuperSport coverage that they've got, or the DSTV coverage. Perhaps everyone else has picked it up along the way. And crunching tackles all around. I'm very immature. And you've set up too many jokes there, says Sarah DeZander. It's time for the young players to step in and let's go, says Robert. And also, Hamish doesn't live in the past. But I did live in the past. Fun fact, we all did. And also, Porn Stash, Orange is the New Black, says Craig Stevens. Yeah, now scrum feed, 11 minutes in, no flow rugby in Nigeria. USA took our bloody rugby coverage. Damn the hide, says Kiwi. Have you watched Top Gun yet? I have not. Is this a mustache that you'd see in Top Gun, though? I feel like it is, isn't it? Because that was an old school movie from like the 90s? Was it? Somewhere around there? Maybe. Although Tom Cruise, wait, how old's Tom Cruise? He's quite old, isn't he? So he might have been in it if it was in the 90s. Bit of hydration break for one of the coaches as this ball now gets fed into the scrum. A little bit of a stoppage there while we waited for it, but now around the halfway line, Argentina are in possession, 1980s. Oh, it's even older. Was he in the original Top Gun? That's a Goose stash from Top Gun. Goose had one in Top Gun, and definitely Top Gun stash, bro. Now I just got to learn how to fly a plane. I'll be set. Now kicked him behind. England does roll into touch. It should be flowing. Yours is poking. Says Kiwi there. It's poking. What is that? Is that like mustache terminology? And does Rokothoko still play? I don't believe so, no. I think he did retire a little while ago. It's mustache that you would see mostly on a woman. Are you sure those are women? I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that. And Goose was a gunner and a nav. That mean he was in a plane or was he on the ground? Maybe. And Goose Stash, indeed, he was the backseater. Says John. Now off to the left, Argentina. Pressure on them from England's rush defence, but a pass on the outside gives the Pumas a bit of space to work with. Kick downfield from Lucio Cinti. Doesn't find touch. Now England at the back with Freddie Stewart, who will kick it up high and chase after this one, charging forward. In fact, it was Will Muir. Now Carreras looking for a 50-22 of his own. It goes close to the sideline. Oh, a bit of pressure there. Oh, and another handling error. George Ford, if he places this one down, it would be a 5-metre scrum. Instead, it's going to be a 5-metre line out. After a couple handling issues in a row. Hamish, you watched Magnum PI? I have not at this stage. And now Pumas says Sakabula. He was Tom's gunner, says Jimbo, and there was a Tom Cruise at Wasps. There was, wasn't there? He was the hooker, wasn't he? For the Wasps rugby team. And Ford messed that up, says Sakabula. Yeah, really struggling to be able to control that one. Now Santiago, in fact, no, sorry, Julio Montoya, the man throwing it in. Now going into the midfield. Finding Picardo, 10 metres out. Gonzalo Burrano. We have good there. I'm sorry, Dave needs to have bigger mustaches than his woman, says Caitlin. Now 10 metres out, running over the top of the English defence. Do you know what the interesting thing is? No one is awake yet. So everyone will come in at some point, probably during this live stream, and be like, what has he done to his face? Because they'll come through that door that's right there. And I'll have to say hello. But now pop pass up for Argentina, 3 metres out from the line. Juan Martin Gonzalez closes in on the first try of the match for Argentina. We're already 15 minutes through this one. And they will go back for the original penalty. And yes, says Kaifa. And our Magnum PI is the best tash ever. Nothing compares. That is a Crime Watch tash. Last seen on FBI Most Wanted. Oh, okay. TMO check is coming in now, ladies and gentlemen. Relatively early on. What do you imagine the family's response is going to be? Probably just, he's because I'm live, they'll be like, he's had to do it for something. But I'll probably get a look from my dad, and my mum will go, that's about what it will end up being. F me sideways. No one has a Magnum PI and lives past the weekend. Right, they're waiting for the replays to pop up on the screen. Let's focus on the rugby and not the dodgy tears, please, says Craig. But we are just seeing a little bit of strapping going on the head of Fukandoiza, and I believe that is because of the TMO check that we are about to see. 16 and a no score. Yeah, close between these two sides. Argentina have looked likely. Now I'm getting Benson Boom vibes. I like it, says Lilia B. Okay, by the sounds of it, they don't have any replays down on the pitch for them to be able to see. But I would like to think that they'd take their time with this one. Definitely if Fukandoiza has ended up with some sort of cut on his head from a high shot. Right, replaying now. He charges forward. It's head on head between, I want to say that's Alex Coles for the English. And it reaches the yellow card threshold, so this is going to be a yellow, at least. We have the I Watch the Bot game with 3 women today. Didn't hear a single word of commentary. Next weekend, it's me, you, and my lagers locked in a room alone, says Robert. And position on the field right now. So after this one, Argentina will be about probably 10 metres out from the line because they will go right back to where that penalty did take place. And Ozargi is my pick for this one, says Hangarat. The yellow card goes against England. And Alex Coles has to make his way from the field. We have got there, you don't look so skinny, Hamish. I mean, you look really good, bro. Just trying to give you a compliment, says Mark. I think that's a thank you moment. I was, to be fair, like at the start of the channel, I was probably about 10 kgs lighter than I am now. But then that was probably about 10 kgs lighter than I should have been. And then I discovered ice creams, and my life changed. And trust England to be a no-try ball fest so far, says Lamatasi, an unlucky yellow, he never moved. And was the yellow referred? Yeah, so the TMO did say to check that one. Looks like Argentina are just having the option of picking between one that's a little bit more further inland or the one down by the sideline where the yellow did occur. What's more likely to score, or who's more likely to score after watching almost the first quarter? I would say Argentina have looked the more likely, and with the fact that they've got the man advantage now, they should be able to break their way through. But now, going off to the right-hand side, I believe that was Lucas Paulos. I'll pick and go again. Get him that little bit closer. Round the side, and that is very close for Argentina, but it's going to be held up. Great defence from England, but they'll go back for another penalty. Hamish, how did you rate the ladies' ref performance in the box versus Italy? I thought it was pretty strong overall. Holly Davidson, one of the best refs in the URC. And I don't like the fact that a lot of people have tried to play the sexist card for that matchup. Like, even though I thought it was an extremely solid game overall. I felt like the TMO did enjoy jumping in every once in a while, but that's not down to the referee on the field. That is a separate issue. But now going back onto the right-hand side for Candoiza. That ended up with maybe Rubiolo ending up in front of him. Accidental obstruction, but still going to be play on. Okay, the beard is gone. Get some glue and start patching, says Estelle. Now off to the left-hand side here for Argentina. Again, England are going to hold them up. That is twice in a row, but this time there was no penalty advantage. And that means the goal line dropout. A little bit of afters there between the two sides. Bit of frustration, perhaps. And all and Hamish says, Robert V, welcome in, mate. Are you still a caramel ice cream boy still? Yeah. You know, those ice creams are very good. And they're dangerous because they only come in a 3-pack. And that 3-pack can be gone very quickly. It's the new Hamish, Shaven, not Sean. Says Russell. I say these two teams pretty much evenly matched, says Neil. And yeah, they were the closest in terms of the betting odds throughout the whole weekend, and rightfully so. And we have got there, Hamish, what do you do when you have to go to the gents in the middle of a broadcast? Hold it, normally. I've only ever had to leave once for a toilet break, and in that 2 minutes that I was away, my dad came on and did the commentary for me. It was actually a massive game as well. I think it was New Zealand versus someone, but I was in the situation now I didn't have a bottle nearby, nor would I actually do that, seeing as I'm in a room with people potentially walking in. But yeah, in the about 2,000 live streams we've done, we've only had to do that once. I see you did it, bro. The 70s porn star look, says Jason. Okay, so already England getting the warning from Angus Gardner for too many infringements in this position on the field. Okay, Angus Gardner just explaining a couple of those breakdowns. I thought she ref well. She is easy to look at. Just need her shorts to be shorter. So you started off all right with that first part of you thought she refed well. That's where you should have, sliced it off and then sent it. Good to look at. Shorts need to be shorter. What a clown. Says Johnny. We have the Hamish. You mean there is no sexism in sports? Says Fareed. There shouldn't be when it comes to referees. A referee's a referee. But, that's not how some people have looked at it. And Hamish, mate, the lookers of awesome starring in a late night naughty film. Is there a bet on this game to get rid of the leftovers? There is not, but maybe there should have been. And also how the scrum's shaping up. At this point, I'd say neither side have really dominated scrums, mainly because, there's been a couple clean ones for Argentina, but no advantages from them. He did it not too shabby, Hamish. Says N3, but now Santiago Carreras, they're actually going to go for the 3 points here, Argentina, and they've missed away to the side, which means it is still 0-all after 18 minutes as well. So now the 22 drop out. George Ford. Ready to go for this 22 dropout. A lot of people in the chat seem to know what 70s or what All-Stars look like. And Carrera's easy miss, says Jimbo. And yeah, definitely not a moment that he wanted to have early on, because then that makes you hesitant off the kicking too for the rest of the contest. Great kick in behind from Ben Spencer. Looking for the 50-22 Argentina, slapping it back infield and somehow keeping that ball from going out. Charge down from England, goes into touch. And now England have got themselves the line out about 10 metres out from Argentina's line. Man, these English commentators are horrible, almost as bad as the Kiwi ones. You, sir, are a breath of fresh air when it comes to commentating, says Sir. So have you got English commentators for yours? Because we have got South African here in New Zealand. We have got there, I would expect traditionally England and Argentina have power forwards, says Kiwi, Vroom. Hamish, what's a good weight for you? I was 110 kgs when I was 79. Now I'm 87. Oh, sorry. Sorry. I got confused. 110 kgs, then I was 79, now I'm 87. I'm kind of around that 80 mark. Like, I don't go much higher than that normally. But then I also don't do a lot. So I probably should. Referee is a masculine trait, not a feminine trait. That's my take, says Fareed. But why is it a masculine trait? In your opinion, I almost don't want to go into it because I feel like there's going to be some sort of deep-rooted issue there that we don't really want to dive into. But Ben Spencer goes off to the left-hand side. Ben Spencer, back to George Ford. Drop kick attempted here from England. And he's got it over. So first points of the day go to the English. And I, Hampshire, watching you from Valencia, Spain. And got to say, I enjoy your commentaries a lot. Thanks a lot for your efforts, says Doug. No worries at all. Of course, we are going to be back plenty of games next week. Chile and Romania are also playing now, says I am nutty. And also George Ford dropping goals versus Argentina for fun. In fact, he did it throughout the World Cup, didn't he? Was that game? Oh, hang on. What's happening? It's going to Romania, yellow card for Alex Coles. Oh, yeah, over there, Hamish, you can't be asking about female traits with that Tashman behave, says Ethan. And also we got the yes, says Jimbo and Mike. Now Ben Spencer kicking this one down towards the sideline. It is not going to go out though. Oh, a bit of an awkward stumble there for, I think it was Will Muir trying to chase after. Our referee commands respect from elite man. That's a masculine, says Fareed. So why can't a female have that role? And it's just the players still respect the referee for who they are in that scenario. I don't understand. Oh, yellow card comes out again for England. They only just got back almost to 15. In fact, they've still got another 4 minutes remaining where they are down to the 14. So they have now got 13 in this contest. Who was Chile playing? They were playing Romania, which actually will be a good match. I'm going to have a quick look and see what the score is in that contest. Hopefully it is readily available so that we can have a look. At the moment, okay, it hasn't got a score update for me there. But hopefully somewhere I will be able to find one. And another yellow says Sakabule or Sakabula. We are trying to watch sport. Get with a picture friend, says Kiwi. And thanks, Amy, says Neil. Hey, you don't even seem tired. I don't know why. To be fair, like I've been up all night. This is about our 10th hour of live streaming. But I'm still chilling. For some reason, nice attack and run there from Argentina against the 13 English players. Only 3 metres out from the line, and it's the big number 3. But once again, England hold him up for the 3rd time. And that Tash suits Fareed's views a lot better than I reckon, says Ethan. And also Chile 23, Romania 13, says the big set-in. So yeah, relatively close between those two sides, which, to be honest, is about, well, you'd probably expect it to be about that way. Who got the yellow card? First yellow card was Alex Jones. Second yellow card was Seb Atkinson. And Puma's pretty good on the barbecue, says Eric J. A machine, says Colin. And third time out up to WTF. Yeah, England doing extremely well to get underneath it. And just not quite letting them up. Or getting down, I guess you could say. In that regard. And bomb try disallowed, says Lamatasi. They haven't had a try at this point, have they? They did have a TMO earlier on that came in, but they did get a drop kick, the English. I was watching from South Africa. I think Argentina are going to win. They have win the box. All Blacks, Australia, England, France, Ireland, Wales in one season. Yeah, they've actually been a really underrated side. All the South Africans commenting now are at least 10 brandies into the day, so take them with a pinch of salt, says Robert. And also love the dedication, bro, says Sai. And there as well, on point saying no, says Kiwi. Looks like George, well, Jamie George, that is, might have a bit of an injury here. Yeah, nah, that's a bad injury. He's going, I'm sore, ref. I can't walk. But if he's injured, he will have to go off, and it looks like he is going to try and continue for this one. Now, George Ford kicking downfield. Halfway line, Elizalde takes it, goes off to Furcando. He's a massive shot on him that bumps the ball out of his hands. Kicked him behind and does go into touch once again. Both sides playing that little bit of a territory game. But Furcando is, yeah, the two-man shot. I believe it was Tom Willis who knocked it free. And also I can see a repeat of Rugby World Cup 2023 playing out here, says Jimbo. Yeah, it's a possibility at this point because, you know, it isn't going to be a massively high-scoring game, I don't believe. Although with the amount of yellow cards that we're seeing, perhaps that will even it out a little bit. Yep, if not more, says Sakabula. Now Jamie George to throw it in again, and Argentina win, or need to win by 6 points for my Super Brew league win, says Craig. Oh, nice run from Tom Willis, bumping out a 2 and manages to send Rodrigo Isgro on a little bit of a trip that went on for a good 10 metres. Has it been a good game so far, Hamish? It's been an even game, I would say. I don't think, like, it's been okay, you know. There's been a couple good runs. It's been okay. You know, like, I don't think we've seen those massive moments yet, and I don't think we've seen the best of both of these teams throughout the first 24 minutes, but the fact that it's flown by so quickly, England having 2 yellow cards, I feel like it has certainly added a bit of spice. That's a great kick in behind from Argentina. It looks like it could be a 50-22 there. Or was it just inside? Sounds like just inside. I know he has his moments, but I generally like Ford as a player. You can rely on him to kick some points when you need them. Not everyone's favourite player, but I kind of rate him. Yeah, he's one of those guys, George Ford. Like, throughout that Rugby World Cup, he had some phenomenal games across the board. And, you know, that individual performance actually up against Argentina was very impactful in terms of the overall outcome for England in that World Cup comp. We have got there, what's the weather like? It is 12 degrees Celsius, and it's looking pretty sunny overall. Not a lot of rain or anything in the forecast. And weather looks fine, no rain that I can see. And a Randy or two makes your South African average more intelligible, says Eric J. Who looks better in the running game? So far, we've seen a lot more of Argentina's running game in the first 25, but England, when they've had their couple little moments, you know, they've looked handy enough too. Like, we saw a good break and run from Tom Willis. England just having a real lack of possession throughout the first 25 minutes. But this is where Argentina need to make the most of it, because they've got a man advantage. They've had all the position, all the territory, but they still have 0 points on the board. And yes, they would have 3 if that kick from Carreras had gone over. But, you know, they still need a try at some point. And there is another knock on, this time from Argentina. England will have themselves the scrum feed now. And I mentioned about the importance for both of these sides being able to get the win in this matchup. Because that spot at number 4 in the World Rugby rankings is actually on the line. At the end of this year, we are having the Rugby World Cup draw, and we will know exactly who will be playing who in that Rugby World Cup 2027. At this point in time, it is New Zealand, South Africa, Ireland, and also France who make up the top 4. Now, if France lose all their games to New Zealand and lose 1 or 2 of their games in November, we could actually see either Argentina or England perhaps even make their way that little bit higher up and make it into the top 4. We have got there, just tuned in, shocked England are staying close at all in this game. Says Akaris. I can't see the game, but imagine the two sides quite similar. The midfield making the most of it, as you say. Might be the game changer. The forwards to provide, the halves to create. That's another penalty at scrum time going this way in favour of England. And Juan Hamish, hola senor, looking good, says cited. And do you remember the great All Black Vainga? Is it Inga the Winger? I believe was his nickname, Neil. Was a little bit before my time, but I know of a few highlights from that man. George Ford gets it into touch. Decent territory gained for England here. They have already given away 4 penalties, 2 of which have led to yellow cards. Ben Spencer having a bit of a chat there with Ford, and yes, says Kiwi. A line out throw for Jamie George, 25 metres out from the Pumas line. And once again, England find themselves in a position here where if they score a try or even just get 3 points, they're still creating their opportunities. Backline movement here coming for the English. They've got numbers and a big bump off there from Will Muir, who just sits down anyone that is in his way. Finn Baxter sits down Pablo Matera, 20 metres out from the line now. Spencer goes back across to George Ford, looking for the gap on the outside. Almost a drop ball from England, but regathered. Alex Cole's back out on the field. Big shot on him by Mako Vivas. Joe Hayes off to the left. Numbers now. Argentina, though, forced the error in the tackle. And it will be another scrum. Real Madrid 1-0 up. And I think so, mate. I saw him at Twickenham. He was a human tank, says Neil. And also quick hands from England, says cited. And there too. But yeah, when England get it moving, they look dangerous. But the thing is, they haven't had enough opportunities to get it moving throughout this match as of yet. England playing with fire in their bellies, says Jimbo. And quick hands from England, says cited there too. But that ball just slipping out of the grasp. George Ford moving it nicely. I think Angus Gardner having quite the discussion at the moment with the front rows in terms of what to be able to do when it comes to that scrum. And also we have their classic Tash horse. Says Joseph, and I was watching you this morning commenting the ABs versus France, and you're still going bloody tops, mate. Says the Ox. Yeah, that was about, it's crazy to say, that was 12 hours ago, wasn't it? That game was happening. In fact, 13 hours from the kickoff, and it was 14 since we started commentating for the day. Somehow I'm still awake. And Pumas playing with bellies in their fire. Says cited, I don't know that I keep asking, but when your mum be back again, she was great, please tell her, says Robert. Yeah, we might have to get her to do like a rugby championship squad perhaps. I know that she was a little bit frustrated with how the All Blacks played yesterday. George Vaughan going for the up and under now into the Argentine 22 mark opportunity, but it's knocked on. Now Elizalde keeping the ball alive. I was trying not to yawn, but it got me in the end. 15 metres out from the line, Argentina. They will set to clear. And just got back from the pub. I didn't realise you were really doing this game, says Flesh. And yeah, we also shaved because I made a terrible decision with a forfeit. At a World Club Cup, yes. And also, whereas Argentina and England in the world rankings, they are 5 and 6. All player down for Argentina. This looks bad, and it might be Santiago Herreras. Can't quite recognise him from the distance. No, Herreras is all right. I'm not too sure who it is. One of the backs, I believe. And bet your tired mate was watching you this afternoon in the UK. Says Neil. A loose ball. Argentina trying to jump on it. Really loose, going all over the place. For both of the teams in terms of controlling that one, there wasn't a lot of it, but it has bounced back to England now. They'll go back across. Seb Atkinson about to make his way back onto the field in the absence of, or that yellow card absence, about to come to a close. Now Ben Spencer does get it into touch. 3-0 at the moment, still between these two sides. 31 minutes in, and it is a low-scoring, close test match for the first of the two-match series. And thanks, pretty close. England are missing some players due to British and Irish Lions tour. CS Sakabula, and Argentina are also missing a few players, either due to the injuries or also, I think a few of those guys from the French top 14 maybe still haven't quite returned. Now, ball claimed. And line out time by Argentina. Gonzalo Berrano put under a little bit of pressure there. Now looking off to the right-hand side again. Looks like it's almost there for Berrano to redistribute it. I had a Gurkha curry on the way. And I've just opened a bottle of cold white wine. Says Fleshen. And does this match affect the rankings? It certainly does. Whoever wins this moves that little bit closer to the top four. Big run from Fukando Eza. Offloads to Berrano. Running up the middle. Rodrigo Isgro. Three-man tackle in by the English. They are still having to defend with everything they can just out from their line, already holding the Argentines up 3 times throughout this first half. In Argentina, they seem to have found that next gear. And they know how important this is. 7 phases in. And England are missing more than a few players, 15 players on the British and Irish Lions tour. Quite a few. Others not available. Cesar Caris. Now, back across to the right-hand side. Berrano, that looked like a knock-on in the breakdown, but it sounds like, once again, it is going to be a play-on situation. Now, ball coming out. Berrano off to the right. Finds, another ball loose. That's going to be all right, though. Julio Montoya. Let's get that one. Give Hamish a like to show your appreciation, says Silver Fox. Yeah, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to leave a like. And, of course, subscribe to the channel. Backline movement here for Argentina going off to the left. Still 10 metres out and shut down by England's defence once more. Ball loose, and England get the steal. Swing low, says Mark. An entire front 5 missing for England, says Mark. And also Mia Mishia are the same step, aren't? Or Hamish and Mishia the same step, aren't? So we have to get along, but he's a good step aunt brother, says Cool. Now kick deep inside of their own area. England clearing their lines. Not outside of the 22. Watch the Wales low lights. Earlier, literally conspired to lose that game. 19 straight losses. Crazy stats, says Johnny. And great defence again by England, says Jimbo. Yeah, it's good work on the attack from Argentina, but it's just that last pass. And England in the breakdowns have been putting on so much pressure. And has forced mistakes. And yeah, but they need to score, not getting anything from their 22 entries. Says Sakabula, exactly right. If they don't score points soon, going into halftime, if they're 3-0 down, that for me, even though they've had all the possession and all the territory, would be considered as, first half lost. At the end of the day, England still have those 3 points that they have been able to get in this contest, told to use it again. Referee had to get out of the way of that one. Gardner took a bit of contact. Now Lucas Paulos hits it up. Another knock-on coming from Los Pumas. And Los Pumas not finishing a good attack is leading them down right now. And also we have got their World Cup PSE Rugby Club. Not sure which club are playing yet. See Lilia B. True. I think we still have to wait a little bit longer. I think there's roughly how many sides are coming from each competition. I think Super Rugby actually does get quite a few teams, which they are lucky in that regard. I think Premiership only gets 2 sides or something, though, I think I saw. And back to halfway, says Kiwi. Not quite. At this stage, England will have the scrum about 20 metres out from their line. Bloody hell, still talking about Wales getting melted in Japan. Says Legend, to be fair, that's the first time in about 4 hours that it's been brought up. So, unlucky timing. I guess you could say. But once again, another drinks break from the players. Pablo Matera, 110 caps for the Argentines. And excuse me, is this a new commentator, says Carlin? Yeah, slightly. Unfortunately, it hasn't turned out as badly as I thought it was, but it's still not great, I will say, in terms of the forfeits. And I now know not to make any more forfeits throughout this year of rugby. Has the Pumas ever beaten, or has England ever been beaten by the Pumas? I believe so. I think they beat them last year, didn't they? Did they beat them in the November internationals? Maybe not, but I think Argentina have had a win over England. In fact, I think they've had more than one. Are we going to see the trend of handling errors for this match too? Little bit. It's been quite a few. England missing 13 first-team players away at the lines. Says Jimbo. Have to feel for Welsh fans. Don't think I will survive even a 10-game losing streak by the box. Says Sakabula. And also we have got there, so far, who was the player of the day? Oh, I would say, Fukando has been busy throughout the early stages. Now, nice break-in run from Elizalde, who's also kept himself busy in the first half from the back. What's with the Pawn Star stash? Or are you given a couple of caterpillars at home? So pretty much last live stream, I said that the box would win by 40. And I said if they didn't win by 40 or more, I would shave the beard. And I also said that if they lost, then the mustache would go too. So we only lost the beard, but the mustache is still full in effect at the moment. But not for too much longer, I don't think. I think it's going to be going later on in the week. Hello from Ireland, Padraig O'Brien here. How you doing, Lance? Says Padraig, doing very well. I'm sure you are doing well too after the result that you saw from the Irish. I don't believe that with you, Southern Hemisphere melts. Says Fleshin. It's not bad at all, just different. Says Lilia B. And some people have not watched any porn since the 1970s, says Mark, and a man of his word. Says Carlin. Now, big shot coming in on Tom Willis. We're currently 37 minutes through, and it is still 3-0 in this matchup. Neither side really going anywhere at this point in time. Santiago Carreras, they look like he almost ran it outside of his 22, which is why he went down the middle of the field rather than looking for touch. Now taken again on their 22, Argentina. Received the kick back from Ford. Taken again at the back for George Ford. Will kick down. For that 50-22, awkward bouncing one, but well controlled by Juan Matan Gonzalez. And now again down the middle. Game of force back between these two sides. Territory game. England are normally known for winning it, and they have done it yet again, managing to get that ball back 40 metres out from the opposition line. A little bit of a step attempted there from Atkinson. His foot pretty much dug into the turf. We have got a donation from Cormac there. If I was a Pumas fan, I would be going berserk. We're not scoring against 13, and how often they have fluffed their lines against the England 22. So here's Calmac. Inside the England 22, and now kick downfield. That's the thing. I actually think Argentina will be more likely to score off a counter-attack than they are just structured play. Cash, says David there. And Argentina have no one but themselves if they lose this one, says Sue. Do you have a Chile-Romania score? 23-13 was the last time someone updated us, but I assume that will be close to full time now. We'll have to wait and see whether or not we can find that one. Now, kick downfield. Argentina again have got the ball in hand. Once again, just back and forth between the two teams at this current point in time. And now, kicking it into touch, it will be George Ford. So that was probably about a 2-minute kicking battle that did take place. Oh, I didn't realise, but they actually have the game on Rugby Pass TV for Chile versus Romania. So that might be an option if you guys do want to catch either a replay of that one or find out about the score. We will soon know it. It's just got an ad playing at this current point in time. There we go from I'm Nutty. It's 25-16 at 56 minutes. Now kick downfield, 50-22, attempted by England, but it will go into the in-goal area. Argentina force it down and a goal line dropout will be on the cards. This is also a 2-match series. It is indeed. So Argentina play Uruguay in their 3rd match of the July internationals, and I think England, they have either have, do they have Chile or it might be the USA actually as the last match for England in their July internationals. Santiago Carreras told to hurry up with that goal line dropout, does just that. 22 metres. Oh, George Ford is going to go for it. The drop kick from the halfway line. I was going to say anytime it is a little bit closer. Right, kicked into touch by Argentina, and this is going to be halftime. But George Ford went for the drop goal from about 55 metres out on the angle. Did strike it straight, but did not have the distance that he required in a very low-scoring game between these two sides. And halftime 3-0, what a half of grinding, says Jimbo. Sounds like an intense match. We should have called that instead, says Lamatasi. And 2 minutes, England with a last chance for a first-half score. And I think that Carreras knew he had to kick that as hard as he physically could down the field because they were going to go for a drop kick more than likely in that scenario. I prefer close games, says Stephen Marshall. Well, that is exactly what we've got in this scenario. No one really budging in this contest. Argentina backline not featuring at all, says Jimbo. Yeah, unfortunately, it has just been that last pass for Argentina, and also brilliant defence from England. I do know that Argentina have made their fair share of errors, but England's intensity has actually helped them in the breakdowns quite a bit. Mexico didn't even know Mexico played this level, and they're playing in Mexico next week for some reason. So here's Big Rig and there as well. But yeah, quite a few other matches taking place in the rugby department for this weekend. Next week we are going to be covering it on the Channel 2. USA play play Belgium tomorrow. If I was a Pumas fan, I'd be stuck on the roof, angry with the score at this point, says Sarah. Yeah, there will be perhaps some swearing that does go on for these two sides in the changing sheets. They'll just be fired up, you know. This was a half where this was almost like, in tennis, if you're a fan of the old tennis, the old racket and ball sport. But how in tennis, before the game, they kind of hit it back to each other just as a bit of a friendly, like, tap-tap. That's kind of what this first half has felt like in a way. It feels like we've seen them kind of go, okay, this is what we're doing. And then now this second half, I hope, is going to be when the intensity comes up and we see both sides really just go out there because, there was a fair share of errors. There were 2 yellow cards from England, which of course they will want to avoid in the second half of rugby. Good night from Spain. Good morning, Amish. I sleep well and thank you for today. Says Carlin, no worries at all. And we look forward to seeing you for probably the next week's fixtures. Taking place, Carreras usually at outside centre, says Jimbo. Oh, Carreras, he's kind of just juggled, hasn't he? And normally plays extremely well no matter where he is in that Argentinian backline. I think that it's showing how much they are missing Santiago Chochabrez, though. In that number 12 jersey, he can be a bit of a game changer for the Argentines. Romania 30 points to 23, Chile full-time score, so a close game. Ooh, close game and a comeback for the Romanians in that case. And a bad game worse than Springboks. Says Wajadin and Argentina been on break point the whole half. Can't convert, gone to a tie break, and England took it 8-10, says Ethan. And he's their top line breaker, wasted at 10, says Jimbo. Although he did have a almost player of the tournament in 10, like as in team of the tournament. I think he was almost the 10 selected. Was it last year or the year prior that he played in that number 10 jersey for them and had an outstanding rugby championship? The Springboks Spur ads are really cringe, says Sakabula. Is that the one where they're doing the ironing? Sakabula, what a first half, says Yarnley. Yeah, really low scoring between these two sides. Competitive from start to finish. Can I alter my prediction to 6 points to 3? Says Gareth. Are you also covering this game, Yarnley? I thought you were potentially doing this one. And also, thanks, Jimbo. I'm half cut. I can't believe the job the boys are doing, says Eric. And also him, nice analogy. I despise tennis, but respect linguistic flexibility, says Givi. And Eric, England are bashing them, and I fear not scoring when you are 15 versus 13 does not age or augur well for the Pumas. England must have a really good defence. I would say England are defending well. Like, there's 3 times that we have seen them hold them up over the line. But then there's also that stage of the match where, Argentina's handling. It's just not quite getting the job done. Are you doing the Australia-Fiji game, says Kiwi Rob? We will be doing that match on the channel too, yes. So what will happen is after this match is finished, I'll end up scheduling that stream, going to bed for maybe about 3.5, 4 hours, getting back up, doing doing Fiji versus Australia, and then probably doing about 3 or 4 recordings along the way too. If you're not scoring, no, I read that one, didn't I? No, they are eating some nuggets, says Sakabula. And there I see his absence has deeply affected you, says Lilia B. Oh, I've just realised, because you have it, that there's like the halftime break, don't you, Yanlu? So that makes sense as why you are able to message. 3-0 at the moment between these two sides. We might have a potential spot for you, Yanlu, if you're keen on doing a Springbok lineup prediction. Sadly, Rugby Itch, also Tim, as some of you guys will know, is extremely busy with his work, getting his degree. So in that case, you might be looking for a co-host of that one. There's a big call on the 3-0 halftime score. Says Kiwi. And also, I see his absence has deeply affected you, says Lilia B. And there too. But yeah, they are just showing the times where England have been able to hold them up in those scenarios. It's just been strong. Are you doing a prediction on the second test squad, or are you done? Says Kiwi Rob. So, as in like the New Zealand one or South Africa's? Because we are going to be doing a New Zealand Scott Robertson prediction. It will be a lot more accurate, I feel, than the first one that we did, because that first one was based off 2024. But yeah, I will be doing a Scott Robertson prediction of it, and also my side that I would select. And that is going to be for the All Blacks. And then for South Africa, we'll do a prediction. We don't normally get time to do a My XV as well, mainly because they announce it so early in the week. Yeah, 3-0 into halftime between England and Argentina. I would vote England, but it is a very tight guess. And also, I just jumped in, Hamish, you did it, says Sakeli. We certainly did. Not sure how long we're going to be doing it for, but it has been done just for now. Just got in here, bro. Looks like he's about to say things in German and cause harm to people. Jeez, that is quite the statement. Listen, but welcome in, I guess. And also, if he came back, would be a little annoying though. Says, cool story. New Zealand, says Kiwi Rob. So yeah, we will have the normal ones that we would do. By the way, Hong Kong, China is going to the World Cup in 2027. They certainly are qualifying in their game up against South Korea, I believe it was, that they did end up facing. I'm available for the Springbok squad prediction. Just message me, says Yanlu. Although I assume your sleep schedule is probably about as broken as mine, Yanlu. So we'll have to try and find a time to be able to do it. And I think I may have watched a stream with Yanlu. A game you didn't cover, says Lilia B. And 33 points to 16 to Romania at 60 minutes. Says I am nutty. Yeah, so Romania have really turned that one around. And how has the first half been? Low scoring, I think is the best way of describing it. But also physical. We haven't seen the most clinical Argentina performance. They've dropped the ball quite often. England have done well goal line defence-wise. They've held Argentina up 3 times. Discipline-wise, not so much. They've found themselves in the bin twice throughout that first 40 minutes. But during that time, Argentina still scoreless. And also there was a missed kick from Santiago Herreras, which I think did hurt the confidence of the Argentines just a bit. And we got the laugh in there from Yanlu there too. And a little is an understatement, says Lilia B. And sorry, Chile is winning, not Romania, says I am nutty. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense, because earlier on someone said about how Romania were winning, but then the earlier one was that Chile were winning. And did this England play to Borthwick style? Has it gone out wide? There's been a couple times where we've seen Will Muir really get involved. Not a lot of Tom Roebuck on the other wing though. And honestly, not a lot of anyone but George Ford, because it's been a lot of kicking from this contest, playing a very territorial type of performance, the English. Same with Argentina. Enjoy second half, mate. Going back. See you, Jan Lou, so we will see you later on. And I don't know what you're saying, bro. I'm South African. Says Illicit there. And also, well done, Max Verstappen on pole Hamilton 5 and Silverstone, says Thyrsis. But they are just showing at 1:30, the New Zealand Women's Warriors side are going to be playing in a bit of rugby league State of Origin, taking place on Wednesday, although that does overlap with the next one. Will you message me on Discord for the lineup prediction? I might do it on, I think you follow us on Instagram for the Kiwi Lads one, Yarnlu, so that might be the easier way of being able to do it. I haven't been on Discord other than to just put the streams that we're doing, if that makes sense. Now, second half, I would say we're probably about 2 minutes away from the getting back out there. 2 different languages. Let us play it polite. Says Kiwi. And they're actually just advertising that State of Origin game that is taking place on Wednesday. And also, okay, thanks, enjoy. Says Yarnlu, I was just trying to respect his passing to irritate people on another live stream onto a better place. Says Kiwi Story. Says Cool Story. Yeah, the benches, I think, could actually be quite crucial. What's wrong with your time? Says Kiwi Rob. I just hadn't updated it. There you go. That'll make you feel a bit better. And England will win, says Foosballs, and cheers, Yanlu. Says Lillian, please say Aberdeen. Again, says Gareth. I absolutely love saying it. Even though everyone from Aberdeen probably hates when I say it, it's just fun, isn't it? I feel like if I was ever going to be living somewhere in Scotland, Aberdeen has to be the place. Just so that I can say I'm from there. Argentina, they've got Matthias Maroni off their bench, Santiago Grondona, Thomas Gashaw, and that number 17 jersey with Bernasconi as the number 16. Theo Dan, Bevan Rod as a couple men in that front row for the English. Alex Dombrand, also one to probably keep an eye on. And then Murley and Van Porfliet as the back replacements. And Chile 33-16 over the Romanians. And yes, Aberdeen, says Sarah there. Are they ever going to stop signing? Are they ever going to stop signing? What do you mean signing? Like sign language? And winners, New Zealand and Australia team getting named, says Kiwi Rob. I assume that's for the British and Irish Lions matchup. I'd say that they'll be probably 2 days before the match. So they're playing next Tuesday. Or sorry, not next Tuesday, the Tuesday after. So probably on the Sunday. Or perhaps even earlier if they do want to give people a bit more hype and a bit more time to want to go to the game. Aberdeen as an impressive granite cathedral. Says Eric, and thanks for correcting my incorrect Romania/Chile score. And also, we have got there, I'm a little bit more happy with the upcoming ABs versus South Africa games after watching ABs versus France B and South Africa versus Italy. Says Kiwi. But Argentina at the moment all doing some squats in the changing sheds. Yes, Hamish, but we have to get your Welsh pronunciation up to speed. Yeah, that does still very much struggle. Anytime I try and say anything that is Welsh or anything with a Welsh accent also goes bad. No, they play next Saturday night. Okay, well, it will be more than likely on Thursday then. In that case. What's Yarnlu's channel? It is Yarnlu Brand is the name of it. He does quite a bit of Afrikaans commentary, as well as a couple English games as well. Looks like both sides just about ready to make their way out onto the field for a second 40 minutes, which hopefully will have more than 3 points. Although if it has less than 3 points, then England will be victorious in this game. More like France 18, bro. Says Illicit there. It looks like a decent crowd for this contest in Argentina. Still maybe a few empty seats. Did you do commentary of any Ecuador's games of the Super Rugby? It was actually before my YouTube time, unfortunately. And Brumbies Wednesday. Yep, Brumbies will be playing on the Wednesday. And that'll be an intriguing one. Say like Aberdeen, says Sir MC. And up the wires woman this Arvo. And Brumbies Wednesday. Oh no, I read that one, didn't I? And Aberdeen as the best worst pub in Britain. A must visit, says Kiwi. And Italy is France, says Kiwi there. And Cymru says, oh no, sorry, Cymru, isn't it? For Wales. But both sides about to make their way back out. Do let me know your end score predictions, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, low scoring one. between these two teams. Not exactly a bad thing, as it is still being relatively competitive. I do think if England can get their attack going, though, maybe Pumas could be in quite a bit of trouble here. Although their defence hasn't been too bad throughout this game either. And the blue light, I was young, says Eric. And I says Craig Stevens, and 3-6. The end score prediction there from Jimbo. Jan was sucking snot the whole time, which is very annoying. Says WJ, and Aberdeen is a great place to drive through. Says CMC. We are still 2 games away from the first test for the Lions versus Wallabies. Says Kiwi Rob. George Ford out there on the field. Only points from the first half, and that was from the drop goal. He did miss one later on in the game, or later on in that first half. We also saw Santiago Herreras missing a kick too. Okay, commentators are saying Argentina have played well a bulk of this game. Where can you watch the game? Flow Rugby's YouTube apparently does have it. Meet a girl from Aberdeen. She stole my wallet. Says I. And if you're reading the chat, hit the like button. Says Eric there too. Is it raining? It is not raining. So that is not the reasoning behind a low-scoring game. It's just Argentina haven't been able to finish the job off. They've had a lot of opportunities, but either a knock-on or getting held up over the goal line have stopped them from being able to get that first try on the board. Nicely taken, though, by Argentina to start the second half off. England physical in the breakdown. They've taken one of their chances, and they haven't had a huge amount of them. But now Elizalde, backline movement, but then Carreras will kick this one downfield and does get it into touch. I think that was kicked out on the full. Yes, it was. And a terrible start to the half for the Argentines there. You can't drive too slowly through Aberdeen. You'll get your tyres stolen. Says Sarah, you handsome now. Says Mr. Biltong, and it was 2 years ago I said something about Miami and baseball. Hamish, what a journey it's been, and you never complained about your day once. Says, cool story, bro, and that's because you didn't pay your side. Says Jimbo. But now England inside of the Argentine 22 with Willis. Spencer goes up to Curry. Bit of a counter-up coming from the Pumas, but nothing coming with it. Now backline movement. England already getting over the try line. That looks close, and it is awarded. So the English strike first in the second half of this matchup. And Tom Roebuck, a man who I said they didn't find enough in the first half. They found him here 1 minute in, but that all came from the mistake from Argentina, going for a kick downfield, kicking it out on the full. And then that led to the attacking opportunity. But Tommy Roebuck, first try of the second half, first try of the whole match. Brilliant, says Stephen there. And yeah, just physicality, the forefront, as he drove his way over the try line, over the top of his opposition. In that case, which I believe was Santiago Cordero, almost knocked himself out in the process there by the looks of that replay. And none of these games going according to plan. So here's a cool story. It's the thing, international rugby, it's unpredictable. And that is why it's so entertaining. We have got there, Higuares, as the old name of Argentina. Says Thesus, but that one has missed away to the side, making the score 8-0 for this English team. World Rankings Calculator. I think we're going to have to bring it out again because it does get more and more intriguing as these matches do progress. Like I said, if England can somehow win both of these games in Argentina, because of them being away, they get extra bonus points. So for instance, if England were to win this game, let's say by the margin they are currently, they would gain 1.32 on the World Rugby Rankings. If they were to win this game by a larger margin than 15, so if they won by 16 or more, not saying that's going to happen, but if it did, they would gain 1.32 on the overall rankings, and that would actually put them up enough to go into number 5 in the world rankings. In fact, no, sorry, they would climb even more so. Whereas if Argentina, if they win this game, they will stay in 5th. If they draw this game, England will actually go to go to number 5 in the standings because of them being away. So a lot on the line here for this Argentinian team. They have now got the possession once more around the middle of the field. Spencer going off to the left-hand side, inside ball. England now, Spencer goes to Willis once more. I feel shame has been brought on the south. Only the Waratahs can hold their heads up high, says Goal Story. And there's a knock on there from England. Now Argentina will have the ball. How strong does this English team look without their Lions playing? I know they are up by 8. They've looked not too bad, like, overall. I would say England have a decent amount of depth at the moment, but they are missing, like you mentioned, a lot of their frontline guys who would be starting. Desora is important for the Rugby World Cup draw? Absolutely. And the reason is so substantial is because if France do somehow lose their 3 matches up against New Zealand in New Zealand, which is a possibility, and if England were able to get themselves 2 wins from 2 here, those November internationals come into it so much in terms of who finishes where. In fact, what we're going to do is we're going to quickly go Argentina, and we're going to go and find the English again. Where is it? There they are. Oh, penalty. This time goes the way of England. So let's say, for instance, England just win this game, right? And then they win the next game too. They will move up to 87.11. And then if France were to lose their next 2 games to New Zealand, England would almost overtake France in the overall standings. Definitely if England were able to get themselves a big victory or 2 big victories in these Argentinian fixtures. Bro, you are more addicted to rugby than Wildcard. Keep it up as you... Oh, keep it up. You keep us entertained, says Mr. Biltong. Yeah, we have done the all-nighter. This is our 4th live stream in a row. Well, not really in a row. We had a couple breaks in between, of course. We could have ended up doing a lot more, but I decided that I better not. Thomas Garshaw will make his way onto the field. 45 minutes into the game, so 35 minutes to be able to work with. Inside ball from England. Being told to leave it alone for Julien Monchamp. Garshaw almost in off his feet, but now going off to the left-hand side. Closing in on what could be try number 2 for this English team. Underhill. It's 1 or 2 extra post-contact meters. No advantage going against Argentina for being offside. Now backline movement. 4 great skip pass. England score again, and that has silenced the Argentinian crowd, as that will now make the score 15-0 with the kick to come. Well, 13 with the kick to come, but it's an easy kick, so it will be 15. England scored, says Mikhail. They certainly did. Like they said, couldn't have got an easier try for Freddie Stewart. Goes straight through. How's Argentina so bad? It's baffling. The problem is they've had so many chances, but either drop balls or getting held up stopped Argentina from scoring. If they were clinical in this match, I don't think it's wrong to say they could be in 20, maybe even closer to 30 points by now had they taken their opportunities, but they haven't. They've come up short by half an inch each time, and now they find themselves down by 15 points in a game that they were initially the favourites. Argie can still pull together 2, or can't put together 2 performances in a row. Textbooks Los Pumas, says Ethan. You got some great rugby knowledge for a... keep it up. That's what she said, says Sai. And also, Pumas play below par, or playing below par. Bro, do you still think they can win? They've still got time. Like, don't get me wrong, 33 minutes is a long time in a game of rugby, but they've made it hard for themselves. But maybe this was the kick up the back that they needed. Because, you know, this first half, as well as the first 5 minutes of the second half, where they've conceded 2 tries in about 5 or 6 minutes, another penalty goes the way of England in the breakdown. This time it is Tom Willis who does win it. A try every 10 minutes, says Big Rig Joe. And still got 30 minutes and time for a few more tries from England. And like I said, that will heavily help them in terms of those overall World Rugby rankings. I was expecting the Pumas to win this. Turns out all the Southern Hemisphere teams did not want to turn up. Says Sir MC. That ball's going to be kicked into touch now from George Ford. And come on, the Pumas' bigger comebacks have been made, says Sakabula. That is true. Though at the moment, it just seems like everything in the second half is going against them. They've given away maybe about 3 or so penalties in Springboks and All Blacks just getting started. I think everyone wants to see a winning thrashing who plays them. says Beekeeper. Now George Ford goes on the outside. Great hands from Freddie Stewart. Inside pass. Going off to England now 2 metres out from the try line. It was Tommy Roebuck looking for his second. Over the line. No, just short. Close there for Los Pumas. Pick and go from Jamie George. Now pass short side. Roebuck scores. Thumbs up from the touch judge. That is 3 now in 9 minutes. Decent. Basta for a bad dash, bro. Says Kiwi, but that has really silenced the crowd now. There is not a peep coming out of the Argentinian stands, thrashing them, says Jimbo. Yeah, whatever happened at halftime, whatever Borthwick said, has obviously fired up England to the next level. The hemisphere is irrelevant, says Stephen. And also what happened in the changing room. Yeah, they got told off, I would say, with how they're going now. The score sitting nicely in their favour. The celebrations from the coaching box. At the moment, the way that this game sits, it is now sitting 22-0 in favour of England. The kick is successful from Ford. So, yeah, 22 now, I should say. What I'm quickly going to do is I'm going to get back on that World Rugby Rankings calculator just for a short moment. So, let's say, for instance, New Zealand beat France in both of their games. England will move to number 4 in the World Rugby Rankings. If England are able to beat Argentina by a substantial margin in both of their contests, now, if they don't win by a substantial margin and the All Blacks don't win by a substantial margin, it will mean that England still stay 5. But in a World Cup calendar drawing year, you want to be in that top 4. And IQ's making a second stream team hammer Argentina. Says Shavam. And also we have got there, you can only play the opposition in front of you, says Stephen. And Roebuck should have been Daly's replacement. And there might have been potential for it, but the problem that they've got is at that point in time when the injury of Daly happened, these guys, I believe, were already almost in Argentina, or at least maybe even were touched down in Argentina. So it's a very long flight to go from Argentina to Australia. Now, given there was time that he didn't have to play straight away, but I think they just went feral because of the easiness and the saving of time and worrying about flights and everything. Where can you find the World Rugby Calculator site, says Akaris? I think it's what I end up doing is I just type in World Rugby Rankings Calculator. It's a really, really long name, but it's something called Rawling. And yeah, it gives you all the rankings and all the games that are taking place over the weekend and whatnot. So it's quite an interesting one. What's happening now? A split finger for one of the players. So we are just waiting for him to make his way off. So we've got a stoppage just at this current point in time. Okay, time is now back on and it will be an Argentinian line out, 25 metres out from England's line. Now thrown in. Nicely taken by Pablo Matera with the one hand, but again, the knock on coming from Argentina. This time the replacement 20 for Joaquin Moro. And an injury, says Jimbo. In question of France win one game in Wellington and lose in Hamilton, and England win both games. What happens then? Depends on the winning margins as well. But perhaps that is a video that we will have to start doing on the channel. Like, I've always been keeping an eye on these rugby rankings, but perhaps at the end of a weekend, we could look at doing some sort of rankings update. Although I do think maybe 2 Cents Rugby does a video in that regard, so I wouldn't want to steal that off him as a original video if he is the only one that does it. Hamish has me more objective and neutral. You are the best teacher I've ever had, besides the one teacher who was hot, says Good Story. And I had hope in Argentina, says Mapule there. And also, yeah, he does, says Kiwi Rob. And you'll find that Argentina have typically struggled against England, says George. Yeah, you just have to look at that Rugby World Cup. Now kick downfield from the English down to the 22. And yes, got it. Thanks for that, says Akaris. No worries at all. But yeah, it's very interesting. And you can actually change the teams in the upcoming fixtures to get like longer term rankings as well. And come on, Pumas in England finally. And there's the England B team too, says Big Rig Joe. I think all we're learning here is the terminology B and C teams in international rugby have become redundant over this weekend, because we have seen sides that have more. That was a forward pass out wide for Argentina. Rodrigo Isgro kicks it infield. It's going to be a chance to score, but I have a bad feeling they might go right back to check on that one. And it is now 4 metres out from the line for Argentina. Santiago Carreras goes for the cross kick, finds the hands, going short side. Risky, gets the offload though to Pablo Matera. It will potentially be a try, but they will check the foot in touch. And if they check that forward pass back, they will probably find it. For Argentina, by the sounds of it, this is going to be their first try. Right, Jamie George is mentioning about that forward pass on the far side, and I believe that is something that they will have to look at before awarding this try. Try Argentina, where's the TMO? Says Jimbo, it is about to happen. Yes, you can fill in the scores, a good site. I stumbled on it once before, but could not find it. Says Akaris. Yeah, to be fair, by its like name of rawling.github or whatever it's called, like, it's probably not the easiest one to find. My commentary bro says slap or nothing. Thank you very much. Now, Angus Gardner, they're just getting it all cleared by the sounds of it. Santiago Carreras is confident. He's hoping anyway, but I do think that if he isn't in touch, it's a forward pass back on the halfway line. They shouldn't be allowed to go back more than one breakdown. So here's Kiwi Rob, although they often do. And with the laws, I believe you're allowed to go right back to the last stoppage. And South talking like this is stinging weekend for both South Africa and New Zealand won. If it was vice versa, the next Rugby World Cup would have been declared won by the North. The mindset is one of the reasons. It is 9-1 in the Rugby World Cup, says Ethan. But the try has been cleared. We never saw a replay, but the TMO obviously looked at... I don't know whether he looked at that pass or whether he just looked at maybe the foot in touch. But either way, it is the try. And Santiago Carreras, he has shanked that one away to the left-hand side, so the score will remain at 22 points to 5. We're going to see it now on the short side. I believe it was that last pass from Elizalde there that we didn't get to see from a nice angle, as it was the behind cam. And then they were just checking to make sure that he was not in touch, which he wasn't. It was brilliant work on the wing. And Argentina will score more try, and thanks for this. As can't watch as I'm working. Cheers from a happy Englishman right now, says Nick. And yeah, England, don't get me wrong, they were challenged in the early stages, but their defence, they managed to hold Argentina up 3 times to stop them from scoring, which was absolutely massive. They've been physical. They're going for a counter-ruck here, but unsuccessful in that venture. Now moving forward for Machete. And good that 0 on the scoreboard was gone, says Beekeeper. And him, says Mark. And there too, taken by England round the halfway line with Freddie Stewart. Counter-ruck, Argentina. Little knock-on called. So it means that the Pumas have now got themselves the scrum. There is still time left on the clock. 54 minutes gone. And also England to get the next try. And how did you know NFG? What is NFG? Has the Pumas finally woken up? Maybe. I don't know why Woken Up decided to make me yawn. Sorry to bother you, because Australia are playing against the Lions. What happens to them in the World Rugby Rankings? First time watching you, loving it, bro. A Bristol Bears supporter, says Alex. So Australia with the British and Irish Lions tour, they actually can't go anywhere on the rankings. So because of that, Australia are currently locked in with a total of 81.52. They actually sit in 8th, but they have a game up against Fiji tomorrow, or actually it is today now. And that is in about 5 hours or 6 hours time. And that game can get them ranking points. So in terms of that one, I will quickly get it calculated. It's a home game for Australia, so they can't get as many points from it as Fiji potentially can. But Australia can go up a total of 0.83 if they were to win that game by 16 or more points. So that would actually boost them up to 7th. Ahead of Argentina if Argentina lose this game. So Argentina brutally would drop, I think that's correct, they'd drop all the way from 5th to 8th if they lost this. Oh no, sorry, that involves next week as well. My apologies. That was if they lost to England next game as well. But yeah, Australia can only get a total of that 0.83 from this July international window. And thank you, mate. No worries at all. Now, going up for the high ball, both players coming down and looking like both actually picked up an injury. In fact, there's 3 men down on the field at the moment. Looks like the hip of Rodrigo Isgro has a bit of an injury. We do a 4-hour build-up to the Fiji game. I will do a 4-hour sleep before the Fiji game. I think that's a much better plan. But yeah, we might still be half asleep for that contest. Because I'm one of your patients, says ANFG. Abel South Africa does need a painful loss this year or next, says Ethan. Oh, yeah, just the slip there for Pablo Matera. Luckily got back up to his feet. Could have been a lot worse, though. It seems like there are a few slips that are happening. That was me trying to hold back a yawn, but it almost got me again. Rodrigo Isgro just getting a bit of ice on his neck here. Still got a couple options off the bench, Matthias Moroni being one. Possession is 57% in favour of Argentina. And a lot of the other stats are probably in their favour as well, but just haven't quite done what you'd expect. Their handling has been poor. And it's kind of been the key, I guess, the key game changer for them in this matchup. And now the ball being popped back up to the English, going off to the side, George Ford. Kicking it downfield. Nicely taken by Los Pumas. Oh, Argentine player falling down to the side. All right, there is going to be the knock-on advantage. Thomas Garchot, the big man in motion, has plenty of space. Sits down Freddie Stewart. Being about 25 metres out from the line now. Argentina, another great attacking chance. This game is far from over. Hamish, it looked like something else, says Brandon. And terrible pitch for rugby, says Jimbo. Yeah, it seems like it's tearing up a little bit too easy when they try and change direction. And who knows, maybe it's a bit similar to a couple of the other games that we've seen. And perhaps there's been a lot of rain earlier on. And Argentina are cooked once they drop their heads like this. They don't recover. 90% confidence team, says Colin. And they have dropped the ball again, which does bring a kick from England way down to only 2 metres out from Argentina's line. Pablo Matera gets it across. A lot of pressure still in play from England. Looking to the short side. Offload inwards. And it goes into the hands of Curry, but they force him out. And Argentina, they will have themselves a line out. Rassi looked distraught. Did you see the post-match press conference? He looked a little bit concerned, didn't he, in terms of how the match went for the South African team? Because don't get me wrong, like this South African side up against Italy were considered, you know, overall pretty strong. You look at that back line, you look at the guys in the 4-pack, they still won by 18 though. So at the end of the day, like, yes, you can be a little bit disappointed, but you're still, you know, it's a comfortable win. But it was how they played that I think was a bit of a concern for Rassi. It hasn't rained here, at least not in La Plata, says Mikhail. So, okay, so it is just a rough pitch for rugby then. And also 4 Pumas back subbed. And a 1 for the Roses, another Smith, says Eric, and changed that the game wasn't closer. But well, no, I can't see it changing at this stage, says Kiwi. Just showing that big run of Thomas Garchot as he broke away through the middle. Jamie George ready to throw this one in for England. Taken by Alex Coles. He did get the yellow card in the first half. 1 of 2 men. The other just had the possession there, and it was a forward pass. Couldn't get the ball away to the forward. And as we have got there, meanwhile, Chile have beaten Romania 40 points to 16, which gets them into top 20 in the world rankings, says George. So yeah, massive shift coming in from the Chileans. Of course, the side that did make it through to that last Rugby World Cup ahead of the likes of a USA and a Canada from that North American league. But yeah, Chile, do they actually gain that much ground? That is massive for them. Whose home game was it? I assume it was Romania's, if they're going to be gaining that many possible points up against the Chileans, who we'll look for there. So yeah, Chile could gain 2.38, which did boost them up to 64.10 in the rankings because of the comfortable win. Now, it's still going to be play on. Argentina around the halfway line with Pablo Matera. Chile home game. Oh, okay, so that wouldn't have boosted them up as much, but I believe with the loss for Romania, it still would have dropped them enough. Now another run from Elizalde. Short side. Another piercing run from Los Pumas. Nice inside ball. Bit of space there for Picaro. Dotted away on the outside. Juan Martin Gonzalez. Draw and pass. And Rubiolo scores the try for Argentina. That now gets them that little bit further back into this game. It is not over, ladies and gentlemen. And Pedro Rubiolo has scored an outstanding team try, you'd have to call it, for Argentina there. And FFS England, what have you done? This is awful, says George. And also thanks for this commentary, says John. No worries at all. We are going to be back for Australia versus Fiji, which is going to be taking place in not too long at all. About maybe 6 hours' time. You're going to do the Aussie versus Black Ferns next Saturday night for the All Blacks? Possibly not. If it's anything like the night that we've had here, we'll end up doing pretty much an all-nighter alongside it, which means that I ideally want to be up a little bit later. I would have loved to play Chile, but we probably lose to them as well, says Fleshin, and England seriously need that next try. And awesome ball handling, says Jimbo. Yeah, and it just shows when they get it right how dangerous Argentina can be. Kick also successful, so making the score 12 points now to the 22. And Pumas found their spirit animal, says Sakabula. Yeah, it seems to be as soon as people were riding them off, they've come back in. And we have got their high in the chat. Welcome in. Celebrations there in the coaching box. And I think South Africa will go for a record of the most victories after each other. 24 is a lot, but I think they will go for it. Says WJ. And what time is the Australia game? It is going to be 3:30, I believe. I'll have a quick look, though, just to make sure. One moment. We'll go like this. Australia versus Fiji is, 3:30 kickoff. So that is a 5:30 a.m. game for you guys in South Africa. So a bit of a brutal time in that regard. And England can't afford to lose this match. And also game on, says Jimbo there as well. And they've left it late, have Argie, says Colin. And now another change. Underhill has made his way off, and that is for Guy Pepper. And Alex Dombrandt, he comes on for Tom Willis, who's had a pretty solid showing from the number 8 jersey. But still 18 and a half minutes left. That's still plenty of time. 3 tries at the moment for England. Oh, a weird clean-out attempted there from one of the English forwards, kicking into touch for Argentina. And we've got their English response will be replacements. And also learnt lesson, don't drink and type. Stairs, did accidentally put that one up on screen. And England will lose Argentina coming back. Says a Seaman, 24, I thought it was 26. Says Beekeeper, and Willis is huge. Says, was huge. Yeah, massive showing from that man. And once again, for those guys who are outside of the British and Irish lines, you know, if you want to make a statement, you have to play well in these July internationals, and that is what Willis is doing. And 10 points, but I can't see the game, so it is really hard to call, says Kiwi. Well, the thing is, if Argentina hang on to the ball without dropping it throughout this last 18 minutes, they've got a pretty decent shot, to be honest, because they've had enough attacking chances. But England have been making it difficult for them, and also started the second half with a hiss and a roar, scoring 3 tries in 9 minutes. But since then, they haven't scored any more. Ball kicked into touch by Argentina, who currently are trying their absolute best to get out of their own half, but England making it tough for them. I feel sorry for Argentina. They play most of their rugby in the world's toughest competition. The championship makes Six Nations look like a school competition. Says Robert. You've really attacked your keyboard in that one, Robert, I have to say. There was a space bar issue at times, but somehow we managed to read it, which I am more impressed by. Tava Nawai, next game, you reckon? Don't know about the next game, but certainly one of the 3 they have to give him a shot up against the French, I would think, just to get him some time before that rugby championship competition. But then at the same time, I would also really hate it if they gave him one game and then never gave him another one. You know, we've seen guys like that before, how they play 1 or 2 matches and then that's it. So I'd hope that Tava Nawai wouldn't be one of those guys. 24-22, finish, go the Pumas. Love this. Thanks very much for the updates. Says MJR, no worries at all. We are going to be back next week with plenty more rugby as well as in 6 hours' time for that match between Fiji and Australia. How can I watch this game? I think it is on Flow Rugby's YouTube channel, depending on where you are in the world. Also, Sky Sport for us here in New Zealand. And also a rivet to give the context early. The brandy has been flowing. Says Ethan, and looking good. I like your new look. Says Diane, yeah, it was a forfeit from the South Africa-Italy game. Looks like they're actually taking on 3 here, England. This is smart. Get that lead a little bit further. How's George Ford playing? He's done a lot of kicking. Managed to get himself the drop kick as well earlier on in the match, and just about to line up the extra 3. And does go over. 25 points to 12 now. 13 points buffer for England. And Morena again says, Honna, are you doing England game next week? Potentially. It all depends on how smoothly everything up till that point goes, but hopefully we will be able to cover it on the channel once more. Ford managing the game well, says Jimbo. How fresh do you think Australia will be against South Africa with a week break between that last Lions game and the start of the Rugby Championship? It'll be a bit rough on them, but I also do think that in some regards that could carry over their form from the Lions games, seeing as South Africa wouldn't have been in action for, I think it's a good 4, or is it? No, it wouldn't quite be 4 weeks, would it? It would be at least a couple weeks, though, that they haven't been playing for. Almost a knock on there in the breakdown from Argentina, but it will be play on. Chandler Cunningham himself taken off the field, even though he was one of the replacements, so I assume that is injury-based. Perhaps the HIA. And also Hamish, notice how later we get in the day, more complimentary, the chat towards the tashes. Says Ethan, how do I grow a mustache like yours? Says Elliot, well, first you got to lose a forfeit. Because South Africa was supposed to win by 40 plus. And because they didn't, that's why this mustache ended up taking place. But honestly, I'm not the best one to ask for, like, beard growing tips, because the rest of my beard just doesn't grow the way I'd like it to. Attack the keyboard, I'm guilty. We can still laugh about it, says Kiwi. And notice, oh no, I read that one, didn't I? And getting a few points for England. Though it also, I like another try from England, says George. And also we have got there, how is Seb Atkinson playing? He's my godson, but I'm in Canada in a car and can't watch his debut, sadly. He did get a yellow card earlier on in the game, but overall he's had some really good attacking runs from that 12 jersey. I do think that he's probably done enough to get a chance next week too. And take the points that you can. This is a test match with close margin, every little help, says Stephen. Definitely another one for England if they can get an extra 3, but currently the 13-point margin. Freddie Stewart running back forward. Hamish, how's the field position now? Currently sitting 40 metres out from England's line. Back into the pocket. George Ford again has to kick it down the middle. Finds Argentina. Now 40 metres out from their line, Los Pumas. What has been a territory-based game. Are you tired, says Mahadina? I'm doing all right at the moment. My eyes say otherwise. But, like, I'm wide awake at this current point in time. The hardest thing will be switching off my brain for long enough to sleep before Australia-Fiji. But I still have to do a couple things to set up that live stream, so I'll probably end up doing them before heading to bed. Ball stolen in the breakdown from England again, but it is a loose ball. Picked up by Freddie Stewart, who run into the line quite nicely. Goes for the kick in behind. Santiago Carreras, pressure on him. Looked like a player might have been taken out in back play. And Carreras has done well under pressure. What time is it where you are? It is currently 9:18 a.m. So we started streaming yesterday at 6 p.m. New Zealand time. So we have been going on and off for about 15 and a half hours. Yellow was harsh, as it was just a result of a penalty accumulation by the entire team. Says Meso. So yeah, he's not really to blame for said yellow. It's just wrong place, wrong time. And just chose the wrong time to give away that penalty. And 19th, 2025 is the last South Africa. And then they don't play until the 16th of August. So yeah, around 4 weeks off that they will have. Hell of a shift, says MJR. And also, does Argentina have a chance to win this game? They have a small chance, but they can't afford any sorts of points going in favour of England. And we've just seen a no-arms tackle made by Rodrigo Isgro, which has given England the advantage, which they can now go back for the penalty. How long does it take you to set up a stream? It depends on the stream. And also depends on, I guess, how long of a build-up we've got. Because, you know, this one I only had the 3 overlays, which was the 2 lineups and then the reserves. For other live streams, we can have up to 20 overlays that we have prepared, so they take a lot more time. And then from there, I mean, the original thumbnail is the one that also can take a little bit of time, depending on, you know, who's playing and what we've kind of already got pre-set up. And George wrecked, says Jimbo. And did the Argentina player got a yellow card? He did not in that scenario. But yeah, Jamie George does not look good at the moment here for England. He is still... I'm not sure what this positioning is. I think they're trying to hold his neck still for Jamie George. I have no idea what this injury is consisting of. Are they going to try and roll him over, or are they... I don't think they can just leave him in the ball the way that he is at the moment, though. And should be a yellow, says Jimbo. I feel like the scores should be the other way around with England chasing, says Big Rig. Do you have any opinions on Owen Farrell being called up for the Lions after being rejected to play for England for years due to living abroad? I do think that Farrell was the convenience option for the British and Irish Lions because, you know, you could have looked at someone who was playing for England here, but then, of course, they did go to Argentina, so that's a long flight to get them back to Australia, and you're waiting a few more days, get them adjusted, everything along those lines. And then you've got, you know, the Scottish could have been an option, seeing as they were only in New Zealand, so maybe you look at a guy getting called up from there. But yeah, it does seem to me like the one that they just decided this is the easiest way to replace it. And we have got there Freddie Mercury doing rugby commentary, says G something. And rejected or ineligible, says Peter. And there as well, wish someone could sponsor you. You give a lot of your time, says Sakabola. And what is the hold up now? It was Jamie George's injury, but he is back up to his feet. Rodrigo Isgro also getting an ice back on the side of his head. If there was an All Blacks player, it would have been a yellow straight away, says Beekeeper. And finally, some points first half was tight, says Xander. Yeah, first half, believe it or not, was 3-0. And then we went into the second half, and by 10 minutes into the second half, England had 3 tries. But this one is a kickable 3 for George Ford, and a pretty crucial one, and a terrible penalty to give away for Argentina, because if this one goes over, they are then outside of a 2-try window, and also they are at the maximum amount that they can lose in terms of the World Rugby rankings. As this game over now, says Mikel. If this kick goes over, it pretty much is. Coming from the UK, I think Farrell going on tour was a pretty poor pick. And smacks of nepotism to me, because he initially went as a pundit, didn't he? Or he was doing some sort of more interviewing, kind of similar to what we see for the likes of a Dan Bigger. So he was actually over there as media, per se. That kick has gone over from Ford, though. It's now going to make the score 28 points to 12. And Ripley's, believe it or not, 3-0, says Kiwi. And Ford beats Argentina again. And also, Farrell was a great pick, says MJ, and have to disagree here. And also, Lion Star Owen Farrell could be banned from facing Brumbies due to strict rules. Lion Star Owen Farrell inclusion has been heavily scrutinised. That seems like something straight off either Google or ChatGPT there, Kiwi Rob. And that is a massive 50-22 there for England, who thought about taking it quickly. They will decide against it. As standards are important to the dressing room, says MJ. And is this England B, or is it not? It is a heavily weakened English team. So, like I said, throughout this weekend, all we've learned is sides that are labelled as B and C teams are just the team. Because, you know, the young French team, they were competitive up against New Zealand. Italy, who some would have regarded as their kind of more developmental side because of the players that they were missing, but they were competitive at times up against South Africa. You've got this English side that are lacking their Lions, but they're still playing some pretty good rugby. And what a boring game, says Eddie. To be fair, the second half's been a lot more entertaining than the first. We only saw 3 points from the first half. In the second half already, we've had 5 tries between these two teams. And Farrell was a very poor pick, very slow, hardly played, past his best in my opinion. Says Akaris, although there are doubts as to how many minutes Owen Farrell will actually get playing in that British and Irish Lions tour. I don't see them using him for any of the Aussie games, and Matt Betting, says Miso Folner. And also, was New Zealand full strength today? I'd say they were close to full strength, although reshuffling players, which I do think can kind of halt you a little bit. Like Rico out on the wing didn't really go too well. We have got their rugby stream channel gone down. Have to listen to some one-eyed Kiwi is talking. Says Liam. Welcome to the channel, Liam. great to have you. I assume you're watching an illegal stream rather than paying for it. Sad Argentina not taking their opportunity, says Colin. At last, England exploiting their strength and depth, says Stephen. But a kick to the corner from England, and now Jamie George ready to go for this line out. 10 metres out from the line. It sounds like 11 is making his way off the field for England. So that will be Will Muir, who had some dangerous runs in the early stages of this matchup. And All Blacks still won. That's enough for me, says Shane. Yeah, we all underestimated the Italians. They almost came back, says Xander. Now Jamie George rolling forward here. Los Pumas cannot afford to concede again. Now in the breakdown, not coming out for the English, so scrum feed for the Pumas. They're still trying their best in these final moments. Still the 8.5 minutes remaining. And Argentina get a chance for revenging next week in Mexico. Says Big Rig, and Daly was so useful as a utility back. Farrell's pretty one-dimensional. That's the sad thing about Daly, as well as Thomas Williams. The two guys who were in the arguably best form in certain positions for the Lions sadly ended up with the injuries. And the good news is in their game up against the Waratahs, we didn't see any injuries sneaking in. And we have got there at last, England exploit their strength and depth, says Stephen. And Farrell is there to coach and lead, says Peter. And they're in Argentina not taking their opportunities. Yeah, they've been a bit lackluster at times in this match, unfortunately. I think that French B team was the biggest surprise of the day. France serious contenders for 2027 Rugby World Cup, says Sakabola. Now, it will be Cruz to feed the ball in. The 8 minutes left, 16 points difference between these two sides. And Farrell better not be coaching tackling, says Big Rig Joe. But now off to the right-hand side. Attacking run from Joaquin Moro. Now, what does your side or side of the world think of Pollock? Says MJ. The honest answer is some Kiwis, as well as Australians, don't actually fully know who he is. Like, because we cover a lot of the Northern Hemisphere stuff, like I know him from the Northampton Saints. He was phenomenal in that game up against Leinster, where they were able to knock them out of the Champions Cup. He has got a big gas tank and a lot of pace and a bright future as a youngster. I know that some people consider him a bit arrogant, but I think that that's just that youthful confidence that sometimes gets taken the wrong way. And France have massive strength and depth, says David. How's Japan playing? They did manage to beat Wales in their game today. Another knock-on coming from Argentina. So yet again, we will get a set English scrum. And Farrell will only feature if Russell is unavailable for the Wallabies game, says Jimbo. And Pollock who? Says Jote Mofa. The arrogance is what I love, says MJR. But that's the thing as well. Like, it's something different, isn't it? Because, you know, we're in a stage where people complain that players talking to the media like robots because they've all been media trained. They've been told exactly what to say when questions are asked. Someone like a Joe Marler broke that chain because you never knew what he was going to say. And guys out there on the field who do show emotion and show, you know, like I mentioned, that confidence, it's something that, you know, you stand out straight away because not a lot of other people do that type of thing. Pollock looks quick. See, Shane, now backline movement here for England. Now sitting 10 metres out from the line. Oh, missed pass. Doesn't quite go to hand, but England have managed to regather. Now shoveling it on one more, finds George Ford. A very busy game. Advantage now in favour of the English. Thought about the offload for Jack Van Poortvliet. A confidence. I love aggression. I love cheating, fouls, dangerous tackles, racism, homophobia. Get rid of that stuff. Sees Big Rig Joe and totally agree on him. Loving him raw and real. Now passed on the outside. And England will score again. It will be Caden Murley. Or Caden Murley, I should say. Sorry. Almost said the South African winger. But England, that will seal the deal. And that should get them the confident victory that gives them the maximum World Rugby Rankings points available. And great score, England, says Jimbo. And yes, get in a much-needed fourth try from England, says George. Yeah, was nicely done by Murley. Uses his speed and his strength to his advantage. And on holiday in Spain, so I have no idea what the score was as an England fan. I'm pleasantly surprised. Are England worth the lead? I would say that England's defence has won them this game because Argentina had so many chances in that first half. And like I mentioned, 3 times that Argentina were over England's line, but England held them up. We've also seen, some great decision-making from George Ford in terms of when to kick and when not to. Argentina, they had a two-man advantage at one point, but they still weren't able to score in that first half period. However, yes, immense defence at times and have taken our chance as well. So here's Mesofalna. Yeah, that first 9 minutes of the second half where they got 3 tries, that pretty much sealed the deal for them. Not the result I expected, given the Lions versus Argentina result. So here's Richard. And Ford a sniper off the tee tonight, says Jimbo, and now 35 points to 12 the way that the score sits. Jamie George makes his way off. That is for Theo Dan with 4 minutes remaining. Now, trying to get the step in from Freddie Stewart. And yep, if Argentina can't attack, England will win, says Kiwi. And big confidence booster for the English, says Robert there too. And I don't think they're done. They seem like they might have one more up their sleeve. Argentina, of course, would like an extra try too. And 76 minutes for George. What a shift, says Jimbo. Yeah, he has been extremely busy out there on the field too. Argentina now with Santiago Guerreras. Kicks it up high. I hate to admit it, but England are the team of the day. Winning away in Argentina is tough, says Darren. And yeah, they've probably... Because the thing is, in the first half, England didn't have many chances to score, whereas Argentina did. So you'd have to argue England have been probably the most clinical of the teams across today. Because, like I said, first half it was pretty much all Argentina on attack, and England stopped them from scoring, took their 3 points when they were available. But other than that, they probably only entered the 22 once or twice throughout that first half. We'll love to see the Lions tour France, says MJ, and Argentina had a little sleep at the start of the second half, says Big Rig, and it's heavily cost them as we went from a close game to completely one-sided. And also, I want to see France play New Zealand. It's always good, says Big Rig. Well, they did just play only about 14 hours ago, but they will be playing again next week. Apologies for my typing, 12 hours of rugby and many tins of lager. There's Robert there too, but scrum feed for Argentina. 2.5 minutes remaining now, breaking off the back to the left-hand side, trying to find that gap in the English defence. Pick and go. The thing is, they've scored 2 tries, and when they have had the ball go through that back line and get it out wide, they've looked dangerous. Just hasn't happened enough throughout this 80 minutes. England won this game in both halves, says Mark Loveday. Yeah, the defence won it for them in the first, and their attack won it for them in the second. I think is a great way of describing it. We have got there a great play. England pumped Argentina, and Argentina by a bigger margin than any Southern Hemisphere side. Says Liam, yeah, England have looked the real deal in this matchup. And I think that, yes, those tries in the second half have been great, but it was that defence. Like I said, just really impressive from a side that, it has been mentioned many times, missing their Lions, but these younger guys stepping up and showing off the depth that England rugby has. I'm looking forward to seeing them, not just, of course, in their next game up against Argentina, but they should be able to do pretty well up against the USA, you would think, for their last game in July. They beat the Lions on this form, says Sly. Maybe Argentina are not used to England style of play, says Xander. And the try scorer has a similar mustache as you. I'm pretty sure South Africa put 40-plus points on Argentina to win last year's Rugby Championship, says Ethan. Yeah, that one just rolling into touch for Rodrigo Isgro. Well played, lad. Thanks for the commentary, says John. And England beat them twice at the World Cup as well. So good, says Meso. And thank you for your commentary tonight, Hamish, says Silver. No worries at all. And yeah, we will be back for that Australia versus Fiji game too. George Ford kicking it high. Less than a minute remaining on the clock. Argentina good under the high ball at times with Elizalde running onto it. Bit of a counter-ruck coming from England, and again in the breakdown, managing to steal it. Chandler Cunning himself running straight at Pablo Matera, who I honestly haven't seen a huge amount of throughout this contest. A great commentary. Cheers, mate, says Giles. And there, thank you very much for tuning in. I'm back across. Chandler Cunning himself. You've done a great job, says Mark. Thank you very much too. Now Van Poor flared. It was another breaking run there from Roebuck. Kicks it in behind, but it's gone out on the full with 3 seconds left on the clock. So there will still be time for one last line out for the Argentines, who do decide to go short and quick. Rubiolo. Oh, no. They've been told off by the ref. They've said to go back and do it again. Thanks, Hamish. You have held the podium as the best Tash presenter par none. Says Kiwi, of all teams played today, England seemed the most collected and confident. Says Anton, yeah, and the most on the same page. You know, as a cohesive unit defensively, there were not a lot of times where England slipped up. And they've given Tommy Roebuck the man of the match for this contest. Hamish, thanks for the huge shift. Great as always, and thanks to all my fellow rugby freaks. Always fun, stay warm, says Suckerballer, and thanks to the coverage. Says it was there from Ethan. And thanks for the commentary. Really good, unbiased, balanced effort. Cheers, says Akaris. Little chip in behind here. England want one more. Argentina, though, having to force that ball inside of their in-goal area. And that'll be the end of the game. 35 points to 12. So a massive win for the English on Argentinian soil in terms of the world rankings. It means that England do gain themselves 1.99 points. Now, there is significance in that regard. And that is because we do get to see the English get that little bit closer to the top four. South Africa lost to Argentina, mate. Says Desmond. Yeah, it was that home game for the Rugby Championship that we did see South Africa get the victory. Good job, Kiwi. If we turned your mind around, Liam, it was only about, 5-10 minutes ago that you said that you were stuck listening to some one-eyed Kiwi is talking, was the comment there. But yeah, I guess thanks for sticking around. And whistle through the Tash, says Kiwi, and good win for England, says Patrick, and do think the Northern Hemisphere are getting closer, playing in the Southern Hemisphere. Atlas, says Kevin. Argentina had a lot of injuries versus the Lions, that's why they didn't perform today. I don't think that would make the difference of 23 points though. They just had poor handling throughout that first half. They had a two-man advantage at one point and they still couldn't quite get over that try line. I think England's defence, like I said, it won them the first half. Their attack won them the second. And Argentina will look at this performance as a game that they were far from perfect. And great commentary, epic shift, magnificent mustache. Nicely done, Hamish, says Sarah. And their two, good win for England. Though the result could have been bigger if they played like this in the first half. Also revenge for the England players. Played for the Lions last week. And good night, lads, says Herbert. And good win for England. Poor from Argentina. Classic yo-yo Argentina. And thanks, Hamish. Good delivery. Well done. And night, Sarah. With the 4 H's there. With the silent ones. From Jimbo. And they're doing a great day of rugby, mate. A hectic day of rugby, that is for sure. There's been a few closer games than expected. I believe England are the only underdog that we have seen actually win throughout this weekend, or at least of the games that I can think of. And Roebuck will take the right wing spot once Freeman gets used to outside centre, says Mark. And good to be with you, Hamish. Long time no see. And go hold. Thanks again, Hamish. Sion says Kiwi. Thanks, Freddie Mercury. Says Robert in there as well. Yeah, I think one thing I've also learnt from the weekend is don't make forfeits with facial hair, because you probably won't win them. And congrats to England. It's always been hard for Argentina to beat England for the most part, says Eddie L. Yeah, England are a side that seem to have Argentina's number, and perhaps it is down to the kind of kicking style of both of these teams. Pablo Matera, though, big smile on his face, though, playing in front of a home crowd. They will be in action again next week up against this English side, so you wonder how much they would have learned. And now you're all good, says Liam there. Well, I'm glad we were able to slightly change your mind in that regard. We aren't actually very biased at all, to be fair, towards any teams. We do try and call it as close down the middle as we can. Good night, Jimbo, with no H's, says Sarah. And also, thank you for staying up and not sleeping, says Mohadine. I told you England's second string still smashes Pumas, says David. And Japan underdogs versus Wales. Tough all these days, to be fair, says... Or tough call these days, to be fair, says Ethan. And also any games tomorrow. So there is a game in 6 hours' time that is going to be Fiji versus Australia. We will be doing that game on the channel. And then from there, the next games we're covering are the under-20 games. No, sorry, there's actually the British and Irish Lions on Wednesday when they do go head-to-head with the Brumbies. We will be covering that one on the channel, followed by a couple games of the under-20 Rugby Championship. I always like to see England beat the Argentinians. The work is to be done for the next match, says George. And also, come on next week, says Kevy. Yeah, sadly, we have to wait probably about 6 days until international rugby comes back for next weekend, but I'm sure it will fly by and we will be ready to go for some more matches. But thank you all very much for watching. If you did enjoy, Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Like I said, 6 hours time, we are going to be going and doing the Fiji versus Australia match. Another member of the Hamish fan club. Welcome, Liam. So there's a little B there, and I say England again, but closer, 26 points to 22 for next week's game. Could be a possibility. That's the thing. I think Argentina will be better next week, but I also do think that England will be just as strong. So that brings a lot of intrigue into that next one. Well, 6 hours time, quick calc. See you next week. Many thanks. See here's Kiwi and there too. But thank you all very much for being here, and I will see you all for the next one.